Welcome back to the program. Pollution is a big problem in Cairo, Egypt, and more green solutions are sprouting up in the country to tackle the problem. Architect Ibrahim Abogendi collects rubbish and scraps and turns them into pieces of furniture.
Creating bespoke furniture for clients is all in a day's work for Egyptian furniture designer Ibrahim Abogendi. But what makes him different from other Cairo-based craftsmen is the materials that he uses to make his items. Discarded tires, washing machine parts and wooden crates are commonly used in his workshop. He recycles the items to make beds, bookcases and chairs.
We live in a system where we're constantly thriving to buy new things, and this consumption culture, or what in Egypt we know as the cupboard culture, where every home needs to have a cupboard and wooden table, etc., etc. But no, especially in light of the economic condition the country is facing. You can now think of your scrap as something with potentials or something that you can use to make something new and different that will at the same time go under what we call waste management.
Tires, one of the firm's most commonly used materials, are often bought and burned by factories seeking to cut the cost of buying wood, a practice that contributes to the thick smog that descends over Egypt's capital annually. His pieces sell between 500 and 4,000 Egyptian pounds. The price points rely on a number of factors, including the original owner of the scrap, the size and intricacy of the design, as well as the space at which it will be displayed.
I didn't imagine at the beginning that I would end up with something this beautiful, but by the end I was very impressed, and all my friends who came to see the place, they were very impressed.
Mobikia's most popular piece is what Ibrahim calls the sosta, a tire connected to a washing machine tub that can be used as a chair or bed legs.
A World Bank report says that while the internet, mobile phones and other digital technologies are spreading rapidly throughout the world, 60% of the world's population remain excluded from the ever-expanding digital economy. The global lender believes there's not enough evidence base about how greater access and connectivity can facilitate economic development. I'm now being joined by an online business coach, John Obidi, to talk more about the impact of digital connectivity. Thank you for joining us on the program, John.
Thank you for having me.
What's your idea about the impact of connectivity on economic development?
Oh, well, the impact is really huge right now because the last time we talked about this, from that time till now, a lot of things have happened in the digital landscape, especially on social media. Before, not many people could afford to go live and afford to broadcast like the way we are doing right now on different platforms like Facebook and Instagram. So it is really growing. Some people who were unable to do the live streaming thing on Facebook are now able to move that content over to Instagram and go live. They just enable that feature. And a lot more people, especially here in Nigeria, are able to do this. And from the last time we talked about this to now, even more affordable and higher speed internet connections are opening up. So the landscape is really filled with a lot of potential, and it is really opening up. It's better, way better than it used to be.
Well, in spite of some of the potentials like you just mentioned, now it still appears that Africa is lagging behind in outsourcing in spite of this huge impact of digital connectivity. Why is this?
Well, naturally, most people in the developing world are what you would refer to as digital natives. Most people in Africa, and indeed most of the developing world, are referred to as digital immigrants. So it is expected that we would be a bit slower in catching on to these things. However, rather than where we are at right now, if we look at the rate of development, it is indeed one of the fastest anywhere else in the world. We did not get on the train early enough, but with what we're giving right now, we are really catching on. If you look at the social media platforms and what Africans and, of course, Nigerians are doing with it, it is something that could not have been foreseen before.
Well, if you say that it's really growing rapidly, but do you think that institutions and governments are doing enough with the impacts of connectivity on economic development?
Well, there is so much to be desired, but we are looking forward to millennials. Millennials are really the ones driving this change because they're the ones who are the early adopters to software, to apps like Snapchat, to the innovations coming out from Facebook. Facebook just released another application called Facebook for Work. It is mostly the millennials and young professionals that are going to be driving these things. Currently and traditionally in Nigeria, well, the people occupying most important positions in government are mostly people above a certain age, but we expect that as younger people begin to enter places of authority, these things will begin to come on much faster.
And now, how can we create favorable conditions for technology to be effective, especially in this part of the world?
Well, first things first, we have to go back to the basic issue of infrastructural development. The basic issues of electricity have to be addressed first because we know that Nigeria is a fertile ground for a lot of investors. And there are people who would like to come in here and give us internet services that will be a lot cheaper and even more accessible to the everyday man on the street. But that issue of power does scare away a lot of investors and external companies. So I think that first of all, we have to tackle the issue of infrastructural development and also making this environment friendlier to businesses and SMEs. I think that will go a long way to attracting that environment. And it's not such a bad thing. Other people coming here to render these services. If they can do it effectively, that is still great. This is going to empower young people and other people alike who have different things to contribute to the landscape.
Online business coach John Obidi, thanks for sharing your thoughts with us on Network Africa.
Thank you for having me.
And that's our program today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Bisi Adebayo.